Chapter 50, Pandora's Box. Luna awoke in a daze. She wasn't sure how long she had been out. It might have been seconds. It may have been hours. As she struggled to her feet, she realized she was in a dark room and chunks of debris was all around her. It was either that or these boulders were supposed to be here. Then Luna remembered the explosion and immediately started calling out. "Harry! Harry!" a voice squeaked out in response. "Evan went boom. Evan sorry." Luna looked up and to her shock saw Evan looking down from a ledge that must have been 20 feet up. Evan spoke once more. "What are you doing up there?" Luna shook her head. "I don't know. Is Harry up there with you? Is he okay?" "Evan don't know how." Evan was tossed backwards by the deathly figure of Kingsley. "Are you okay, Minister?" Luna spun around. She saw Umbridge slowly rise to her feet from the rubble behind her. "Do I look bloody okay, you twat?" Umbridge was red with anger, her face partially burnt, and she was missing a small but noticeable portion of her hair. Her eyes, however, were manic with madness as she saw Evan poke his head over the ledge. Umbridge pointed up to Evan and hissed, "Toss that thing into the pit with the girl. Then levitate me out of this death trap and summon the mutants. I think it's about time they had their dinner." Kingsley slowly looked from Luna to Evan before finally locking eyes with Dolores. "No, Dolores." Umbridge almost smiled before the words registered and struck her like a bullet. "What?" I said. "No, Dolores," Kingsley uttered with a small but sinister smile. "I'm afraid I cannot do that." "Why not?" Umbridge shouted, befuddled. "You mean you can't or won't?" Kingsley drawled. "Both, really. I won't do as you request and help you out of the pit because you have lost your usefulness. Now you are just a danger to the Totalitar cause as well as the wizarding world." "How dare you? I am the Totalitar and it's my cause. Now get me out of here." "That is an order," Umbridge commanded. "That's just it. You have no order, not anymore. Order is meaningless without the power to enforce it, and without power you are obsolete," Kingsley said with pride. "I have the power now, and once more the ministry is mine." "You traitor, be quiet, Minister. You don't want to wake them up." "Oh, that's right. The reason I could not do as you ask and summon the mutants is because they are already here," Kingsley uttered with a hint of mirth. "But if you wish to keep shouting, then I shall wake them for you, Minister." Umbridge paled as she looked around her while Luna frowned in confusion. "What mutants?" Kingsley gestured with his scythe, and a wave of magic vibrated through the pit. "I'm sure you'll find out soon enough. Goodbye, Miss Lovegood. I'm sorry it must end like this, but it was a true pleasure to have known you. And Dolores, it was a pleasure working for you." Kingsley then turned around and strolled out of the room, dragging Evan out of the room and repairing the door which had shattered from the squib's explosion, plunging the room into blackness. Umbridge started clawing at the wall, feebly trying to climb out of the pit, while Luna remained still. Luna could still see the faint outlines of the debris around her and froze when a horrible realization struck her. It wasn't debris, but bodies, sleeping bodies beginning to stir. Evan feebly fought to free himself of Kingsley's grip when he tossed Evan into the center of the curricular room. Kingsley looked around him. With the exception of Pandora's box, all the doors had all been blown off their hinges from Evan's episode, but the room was relatively unscathed. The Dursleys were beginning to stir, obviously recovering from the effects of being stunned. Kingsley frowned as he realized who was missing, but shrugged and turned to Evan first. "You are dangerous. If I tossed you into that pit, you would blow up half the mutants in there. Well, never you mind. Your suffering is at an end." Kingsley raised his scythe as Evan let loose a pitiful squeal when Harry pounced. Harry whipped off his invisibility cloak before knocking Kingsley to the floor. Harry jumped on top of Kingsley, who reached for the scythe he had dropped. Harry was quicker, reaching into Kingsley's robes and retrieving the Elder Wand, which once more called him Master. Harry aimed the wand at Kingsley's throat and uttered, "I just reclaimed the Elder Wand, but a few minutes ago it was you it called Master, even when Luna held on to it." "So why did you try to kill Umbridge?" Kingsley grinned. "For the first time in 9 years, I feel free. Umbridge has lost control of the ministry, and without that she is worthless." Harry felt a wave of power send him flying off, Kingsley hitting the floor. The deathly figure rose and summoned his scythe. Harry glared at the man with hatred as he drew the sword of Gryffindor. You have no honor. If you truly believe you are free, I suggest you take a look in the mirror. You are a slave to your own power. I am a slave to the power of death, Harry Potter. Soon you shall be too, Kingsley replied morbidly. Harry grinned. But I am the master of death, Kingsley smirked. You don't believe that any more than I? Oh, I do, Harry said with wisdom beyond his years. The last enemy that shall be conquered is death. I have conquered it thrice now, not because I survived, but because I accepted and embraced it. I have danced with death so many times, I have nothing to fear from it, not because I fear death, but because I simply love life, and I won't let you take that from Luna and I. I'm sorry, Harry, but there is no escaping your destiny. Just as Luna is discovering right now, we are all doomed to die. Harry's expression froze. Whereas Luke Kingsley pounced, slashing with his scythe, with the speed and ferocity of a master of the blades. Harry parried and thrust his as the battling figures clashed blades. Evan and the Dursleys watched on the sides. The Dursleys seemed to be overwhelmed by the magic they were seeing Harry wield. Kingsley knocked Harry off balance, and with a blast of magic from his hand, sent Harry flying through one of the doorways. Harry smashed into a shelf and felt glass fall down on him, shattering as the Hall of Prophecies seemed to cave in on him, the shelf shaking as more vials of prophecies fell. Harry raised his wand and cast a shield, causing the falling vials to hit the magical barrier. Harry rolled to his feet and ran towards Kingsley, just as the towering shelf was beginning to fall upon him. Kingsley raised his hand again, but this time Harry slashed out, taking one of Kingsley's skeletal fingers out of the equation. Kingsley cried out in pain as Harry attacked with his sword, Kingsley blocking as he retreated, both wizards escaping the room just as the shelf collapsed to the floor with an earth-shattering thud. Harry slashed with his sword like a man on borrowed time before kicking Kingsley into a different room. Before Harry knew what hit him, a tentacle wrapped around his throat. A disembodied brain attacked him, trying to squeeze the life out of him. Kingsley seemed to have a similar problem, but did not seem to be affected by the lack of oxygen. He raised his scythe and swung. Harry dodged the blade, causing it to impale the brain. The creature let out a shriek before falling to the floor with a splat. Kingsley readied to swing his scythe again as Harry gave his sword a twirl. The blade spun in a circle, briefly embedding into the splattered brain before launching it right into Kingsley's face. Harry smirked, only to step back as Kingsley started blindly slashing with his scythe with reckless abandon, roaring in anger as the scythe began to destroy everything in the room. Harry left the room as Kingsley seemed to glide towards him, his eyes red as he lunged. Harry parried the strike, but the force sent both tumbling into the next room. Harry hit the floor and began to roll. Harry came to a stop as he heard faint whispers of people he long thought dead. When Harry opened his eyes, he felt the blood rush from his face and quickly scrambled away from the veil he so nearly rolled through. The veil of death, the only known resting place of Sirius Black, for no one dared go look for him. Harry tried to hear what the voices whispered and suddenly picked up 3 harsh words. Harry, watch out! Harry spun around and raised his sword just in time as Kingsley tried to cut him in two. Even as the blades clashed, Kingsley tried to force his blade through the sword of Gryffindor and slowly started forcing Harry backwards, towards the veil. Harry started pressing forward, but Kingsley seemed to have the upper hand on him as he forced him back further and further. Harry suddenly pushed the blade off against Kingsley and rolled to the side, allowing the momentum to send Kingsley stumbling forward towards the veil of death. Kingsley seemed to lunge himself upwards and flipped backwards before landing 10 feet in front of Harry. Kingsley bore down on him with his scythe. Harry deflected the blows and slashed a few of his own. Kingsley backed off and smiled. Impressive, most impressive indeed. Phileas has taught you well. Phileas never taught me about sword fighting. Harry replied. In truth, he suspected the Hallows had something to do with his increased sword-fighting ability. Phileas did teach me other things. He taught me how to live and how to die, how to fight for what's right, how to become the man I was meant to be. He taught me about true greatness and true power. No matter how much power you may believe you have gained, you will always be weak. Kingsley glared before uttering darkly. Then let's put that to the test. Kingsley raised his scythe, and a blast of lightning emerged from it. Harry blocked it with his, but dropped the sword as the lightning burnt him through the sword. Harry quickly drew the Elder Wand and sent his own spell at Kingsley, who already launched another burst of lightning. The spells locked, and power seemed to course through the spells and shake the room around them. The priori incantatum filled Harry with a sense of déjà vu as he remembered his duel with Voldemort. No, it wasn't just that. Harry remembered Kingsley's duel with Phileas. Harry met Kingsley's shrunken eyes, who smiled triumphantly as he raised his right hand from the scythe. The deathly weapon trembled under Kingsley's weakened grip, and the power coursing through it, but Kingsley didn't have to worry about that much longer. Goodbye, old friend. Kingsley slashed out with a separate burst of magic. Harry took one hand off the Elder Wand, and Kingsley laughed, knowing Harry wasn't strong enough to block the second curse without a wand. Then Harry winked as his hand reached into his robes and pulled out a second wand. A wand of 11 inches with the feather of a phoenix residing within its carefully carved wood. Harry cried out, Expelliarmus! Harry felt his spells impact with Kingsley's and easily overpower the stunned wizard. Kingsley's eyes widened, and before he could react, the spells collided into him and sent him flying through the air, before cracking his head on the rocky floor. Harry walked up to Kingsley and with the Elder Wand bonded the unconscious wizard with ropes before casting unbreakable charms on the robe. Only then did Harry let out a sigh of relief. Yeah! Harry looked up and saw Evan jumping up and down cheering. Behind him, the Dursleys looked on with shocked expressions on their faces. Dudley's was one of shock, and all while Petunia's was one of fear. Harry levitated the unconscious and bound body of Kingsley back to the circular room as Harry channeled his magic and jumped up to join them, causing Petunia to give out a startled shriek. Harry rolled his eyes and spoke to Dudley awkwardly. Listen. If he starts to wake, can you shout out, or hell, punch him? I have to find. Harry's sentence was cut off by the sound of screaming, and the blood rushed out of Harry's features. Luna was trying to stay as still as humanly possible as the bodies of what Kingsley called mutants began to move around her. Luna looked for a way out, but could only see darkness. Suddenly, a pair of yellow eyes emerged from the darkness, and Luna let out a startled cry. She took a step backwards and felt her ankle trip over something slimy, sending Luna spinning as she crashed to the floor, landing on her stomach. Luna lifted her head off the floor and took in a harsh breath as fear froze her. Luna looked deep into the yellow eyes just inches away from her own, the eyes of the mutant. Luna was as pale as a ghost as she looked upon the creature, which seemed to drool at the sight of her fresh, uncooked flesh. The mutant leaned forward and sniffed Luna's face. Its eyes seemed to bore into Luna's before it growled, baring his teeth. Get away from me, you freaks, Umbridge shouted, causing the startled mutant to leap away from Luna. Luna looked up and realized most of the mutants were staring at Umbridge expectantly, either with hunger or fear. No, I don't have food. Now go away, you disgusting animals. One of the mutants growled at this, but whimpered when Umbridge glared at the creature. Luna saw the fear in the mutant's eyes, and Luna couldn't help but notice how human they looked. It was this thought that slowly turned Luna's gaze to her mother. You did this to them. This was what you were going to do to me, wasn't it? Umbridge looked up abruptly, having forgotten Luna was there, and suddenly grinned. Actually, my dear pets, I do have food for you. See that girl over there? She's all yours. The mutants turned to Luna and hungrily approached her. Luna spared Umbridge a glance before taking a deep breath and kneeling down in front of the nearest mutant. The mutant salivated as it licked its lips, when Luna looked the mutant in the eye and whispered, "Hello there, what is your name?" The mutant looked at Luna as if she had grown a third head, while Umbridge laughed in the background. "It doesn't have a name, it's not even human." The mutant started growling when Luna rested a hand on the mutant's face, causing it to flinch at the contact and growled louder. Luna cooed softly. "Don't listen to the mean lady. I know you are human. You just can't remember your name, can you?" The mutant frowned, and Luna felt her breath hitch as the other mutants began to surround her, just waiting for the moment to pounce. "I'm sorry, but I don't have any food right now, but I promise you, I will help you get better. I will fix what she has done to you. And if I fail, I shall at least make sure you can live a free life." Luna smiled as she saw the glimmer of light in the iris of their yellow eyes, even as she felt breath on the back of her neck. "Yes, I know what you are. You're a person just as human as I am. What in Merlin's name are you waiting for?" Umbridge barked out. "Are you things hungry or not? Eat her, eat her." Luna leaned forward and kissed the stunned mutant on the top of its bald green head before rising to her feet. "Don't worry, Dolores, they won't hurt either of us." "Like hell they won't. Animals eat animals, and squibs eat squibs," Umbridge cursed. The mutants growled at Umbridge as she said this, only causing her to lose her temper. "Don't look at me, the girl is the squib, you savage dogs." "Dolores, stop," Luna warned as the creatures left Luna's side, their eyes slowly turning red. "Don't upset them. Don't upset them," Umbridge repeated incredulously. "They don't have feelings." One of the mutants let out a human-sounding roar and lunged forward, sinking his teeth into Umbridge's arm. Dolores cried out in pain as she banished it away with her wand. Umbridge looked at her arm in shock. "It bit me. How dare it bite me? You damned half-breeds." "Mother, stop it," Luna shouted as another mutant reached up and slashed at Umbridge with its clawed hands, scratching Umbridge's face. Umbridge cried out as her wand fell to the floor. Umbridge lunged for it, but a mutant picked it up first. It raised the stick above its head before snapping it in two. The mutant let out a triumphant cry that was quickly echoed by the others. Luna's eyes met the Earth Mother's as she pleaded. "Please." Luna's voice seemed to fade as she saw the hopelessness of it. Umbridge was already screaming at the creatures even as they backed her into a corner. "That's my wand. You broke my wand, you filthy squibs. I am your master, and I shall have order." Luna closed her eyes and turned away, crouching to the floor as she pressed her hands against her ears. Yet no matter how hard she pressed, she could still hear the screams. Luna started humming as her body began to tremble. She didn't know what she hummed, only that it was loud enough to block out most of the horrible sounds, but tears still fell from her eyes. Luna tensed as she felt something touch her, but when two hands pried her own from her ears, she heard Harry's voice whisper, "It's okay, Luna. It's over." Luna opened her eyes and met Harry's. Luna numbly felt Harry pull her into his chest as she cried. She wasn't sure why she cried, nor did she question it. She just let herself cry in Harry's arms. He gently lifted her off the floor and levitated out of the pit, from which the mutants watched on with a vague sense of hope. Harry gently placed Luna back on the floor of the circular room as he turned to Evan, who watched on silently. "Can you look after her for a moment? I need to deal with the Dursleys." Evan looked back from the room Harry and Luna had come from. "Sister," Harry shook his head. "I'm sorry, Evan." "No, you don't want to look." "I must. Here. No. See," Evan uttered as he struggled to his feet. "There is nothing to see, Evan," Harry insisted as he looked into the elfish man's eyes. "Nothing recognizable anyway." Evan gulped as he took in Harry's words. "Oh," Harry looked at Luna, whose eyes looked at nothing, and kissed her. "It's okay to cry, Luna, and it's okay to mourn her, like when I mourned Uncle Vernon, remember?" Harry saw his aunt and cousin watching a few feet away, tears in their eyes as they mourned the head of their family. Harry looked back at Luna. "I know what we feel doesn't always make any sense, but to feel is to be human." "I don't mourn her," Luna whispered softly. You mourn the mother she never was, and the dreams that will never came true," Harry answered with empathy as he thought of his uncle. Luna nodded and gave a small smile at Harry. Thank you. Harry nodded sympathetically before rising to speak to the Dursleys. The three stood awkwardly looking at each other for a moment before Harry looked down to Kingsley. Still out? Yep, Dudley replied, trailing off before saying, I missed you. Harry raised an eyebrow at the question in Dudley's statement, mockingly replying. I missed you, Dudley frowned as Harry chuckled. You don't have to pretend to like me. I promise I won't turn you into a frog. But maybe a pig, though, Dudley quickly replied. I'm not pretending. I really did miss you. So did Mom and Dad. Harry gave a pointed look to Petunia, who looked away and muttered. Vernon did mention last summer that it was rather odd you weren't there, that he'd grown accustomed to your presence. Wow, I'm flattered. Harry replied sarcastically. I guess you know what they say. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. Petunia shot Harry a quick glare before saying, What, do you want me to apologize for mistreating you, for not being a good aunt? Apologize for not understanding or accepting your freakishness, because I won't. It's not necessary, Harry uttered with simmering anger. Your apology wouldn't be accepted anyway. Harry turned to start walking away, taking in a deep breath. He had not moved 5 feet before he rounded back upon Petunia. Maybe you can answer something, though. Why? Why was nothing I ever did good enough for you? It's bad enough you made me your bloody slave, but I never got one moment of gratitude, of kindness, of love from any of you. My own family. Merlin knows you don't like wizards, but you think you could make an exception for your bloody newborn nephew. Why does being normal appeal to you? I know you wanted to go to Hogwarts. You even wrote to Dumbledore begging to go. What was trying to crush my dreams going to accomplish? Your dreams would still be unfulfilled. Just tell me why. Why do you hate me? Harry replied, heavily breathing, as he finished his tirade. Petunia looked at Harry, her expression unchanging, before she replied. I don't hate you. Harry let out a dark laugh and just shook his head. Never mind, you're never going to change. But neither am I. I'm a wizard, and a strange one at that. I'm as abnormal as you can get, and I'm proud of it. Thank you very much. So once we are out of here, don't get accustomed to my presence. Harry turned to Dudley, who looked sadly between the two of them. Dudley uttered, Harry, I. Harry looked into his cousin's eyes and said, Dudley, maybe in another life we could have been brothers, but I honestly don't want to be friends. But like it or not, we are family, so if you really are ready to grow up, who knows? Maybe. Dudley smiled as Harry wordlessly offered his hand, and the two shook hands. Harry didn't know what would come of this, but at least he knew the two had finally buried the hatchet. Harry gave Petunia another look and said, You know, for so long all I wanted was you to say one nice thing to me, but now I honestly, I don't give damn. Harry began to walk away when he heard Petunia reply curtly, looking at the ceiling. I don't object to your girlfriend. She is interesting. Harry looked back at her with a surprised expression before he replied with a healthy amount of suspicion. Ah, thanks. I think she's brilliant, Dudley replied with a little too much enthusiasm. Thanks, Harry replied awkwardly as he turned away. I mean really brilliant, Dudley blushed. Okay, Harry uttered as he gave Dudley a disturbed look before turning again. I mean really, Dudley, Harry cut him off with a raised voice. He raised his hands and gave an exasperated whisper of, Thanks. Harry walked away, shaking his head, breathing out. Wow, why you cry? Evan whispered as he wiped away Luna's tears, replacing it with an unpleasant green slime. Luna giggled in spite of herself as she wiped the slime from her eyes before sighing. Despite everything, she was my mother. At least she was supposed to be. She was supposed to love me and raise me. Evan let out a labored breath. Okay to cry, easy to hate, but blood hurts. Ain't that the truth? Harry muttered to himself as he let the two have their moment. You don't mourn her, you mourn what she did. What could have been? I mourn the sister I lost long ago, Evan replied, showing his hidden wisdom. Luna looked away and whispered, I guess I really have no family now. Better you have no family than to have her for sister, let alone mother. Besides, you have boy, Evan retorted with a wink, causing Luna to blush as she glanced at Harry. Yes, I guess I do. It is Evan, who has no family, the squib replied solemnly. Petunia frowned as she looked between the two strange souls. Wait, wouldn't that make you? Harry raised his finger to silence his aunt. Wait for it. Dudley looked between the two vacantly. Wait for what? I don't get it. Luna and Evan sat in silence for another 10 seconds before they both gasped. I just realized. Luna stopped as Evan exclaimed with pride. Evander was the name of my old pet cat, named her ourself. I mean myself. Luna giggled at Evan's antics before leaning forward and whispering in Evan's ear. The elf-like man pulled back and shouted. I'm your aunt. Luna shook her head quickly. No, uncle, you are my uncle, and I'm your niece. Evan smiled so widely Luna was worried it hurt. I'm an aunt. Pater Harry, I'm an aunt. Luna felt more tears run down her cheeks, though she wasn't sure if it was the discovery of a long-lost relative or just from how hard she was currently laughing. I'm an ant. I'm an ant. For the last time, Evander, you are not an ant. You are a human being and— Wait, what in Merlin's name are you doing here? Hermione scolded from the door, causing everyone to jump and Harry to quickly draw his wand before realizing who it was. Luna calmly answered Hermione with a smile. I suspect Noggles. Hermione was stunned as she looked from Harry to Luna to the Dursleys and Evander to the tied-up Kingsley in the corner. Hermione uttered weakly, Where's Umbridge? In the stomach of those bloody mutants. Harry replied crassly, before pulling Hermione into a hug which she quickly reciprocated. Hermione whispered, I was so worried. So was I, Harry replied, before pulling back and said, I'm so proud of you. Hermione went to hug him again but stopped herself. We don't have time for sappy reunions. For Merlin's sake, you know, just up those stairs is the LLR, half the Goblin army and a SWAT team of muggles. Harry paled. On the same side. Thankfully, Hermione replied, ignoring Harry's look of relief. Though for the record, Miss Granger doesn't fight fair. Ragnar croaked as he entered the room from Hermione's side. She uses cruel human tricks like guilt and empathy. It is a vulgar tactic. Hermione snorted. Ragnar's just upset he was exposed as a big old softy. Say that again, and I'll feed you your own flesh, Ragnar growled. Hermione looked at Ragnar before giving a mock whisper to Harry and Luna. Big softy, Ragnar growled as he walked over to Kingsley, giving the fallen wizard a kick and waking him from his forced slumber. Hello, Kingsley. I'm in a particularly violent mood right now, and since your master is no more, it seems you are in charge of the totalitter. So you better cooperate, or you shall bear witness to my violent mood. Kingsley looked up at Ragnar and uttered darkly, The totalitter shall liberate the wizarding world from the Muggle overlords. No more shall we live in the sewers like rats. Muggles shall serve the master people, as you goblins will too. In the new world, you may even be superior to the Muggles. Let me go, and you shall be a king of the underworld. Release me, or you shall all be consumed in hell fire. Ragnar snorted as he growled. I was once a king of the underworld. Your kind forced my people to dwell in. I would rather burn in Hades than be lesser than scum like you. Suddenly, Kingsley's deep, dark laughter filled the room, filling Luna and Harry with dread. The hellfire I mention is no idle threat. If Umbridge is indeed dead, then her final order has been activated. As we speak, the death of Dolores has been made known to every member of the Totalitter, including those who have infiltrated the Muggle government. They shall use their control of the Muggle government to send the most powerful of Muggle weapons to consume all of London with the fire of Hades. As Kingsley spoke, the Weasleys and Muggle generals had entered the room. Kingsley closed his eyes and took in a deep breath, whispering to the horrified room, You shall all die, as shall every Muggle, wizard, and goblin in this Godric-forsaken city. Do not worry, though, your death shall not be in vain. The resulting war shall destroy the Muggle race, and from the ashes the wizards shall rise to rule over a scorched earth. Hermione hissed. You are mad. You can't do this, Luna yelled desperately. I have done nothing, Kingsley laughed. Umbridge was mad. I'm the only sane person among you lot. Luna approached Kingsley and pleaded. If you're as sane as you claim, then you do not wish for this to come to pass. As misguided and twisted as you are, you believe you are doing good. No good can come from this grim prophecy you spout. Kingsley grinned kindly. Too right you are, Luna. Only I and I alone can stop this weapon from destroying all we hold dear. Set me free, and I swear on my magic, while there is life in me, I shall use the power of the ministry to save you all from the hell fire. Luna looked to Ragnar, Hermione, and finally Harry. Set him free, Ragnar growled. You trust him. Harry also spoke to Luna, only softer. Are you certain about this? Luna shook her head as she answered them both. No, but he made an oath on his magic. Outside of this, there's no telling what he will try to do, but what choice do we have? Luna looked to Kingsley, who smiled. You show your wisdom, Luna. Your mother would be proud. Don't mention my mother, Luna hissed with pain. You took her from me, and nothing you do will ever bring her back. I try to be kind and forgiving, but I cannot ever forgive you for what you did to her and to my father, and to me. Kingsley looked at Luna sadly as Harry released him from his bonds. Kingsley rose to his feet as he spoke. Everything I have ever done, I did for my people. For the future of the wizarding world, I have stood alone in preserving it. No matter your intentions, no deed is worth doing if it sacrifices one's soul, Luna uttered sorrowfully. Good intentions does not make you good, nor does it hide that your soul is black and cold. Kingsley snorted as he grabbed his scythe. The world is black and cold. Only by accepting it can we learn to survive. There is no good or evil, only power and those too weak to seek it. Luna shook her head. If you truly believe that, then you are lost, Kingsley drawled. Then let me show you true power, Luna Lovegood. Then we shall see how your morality compares to the might of magic. Kingsley walked up to the door of Pandora's box, and everyone suddenly backed away, even if only Harry and Luna knew why. Kingsley raised his scythe. Pandora's box, give me the power to save the world. Kingsley brought his scythe down and impaled the blade into the door, causing a large crack to appear. Kingsley pulled out his scythe, and Luna could see nothing but whiteness from the door's crack. Kingsley cried out, Give me the power to rule the world as its savior. Kingsley brought the scythe down again, and this time the light seemed to be sucking the energy of the room into Pandora's box. Kingsley raised his scythe again and shouted, Give me the power to show the world the might of magic. Kingsley brought down the scythe one last time, and the door crumbled before being sucked into Pandora's box and turning into dust. A low, deep rumbling shook the room as a buzzing sound filled everyone's ears. Luna squeezed Harry's hand, who squeezed back as they looked on with grave trepidation. Pandora's box had been opened at last. Kingsley smiled as he looked into the bright white light and slowly stepped into the room. As he did so, his movements seemed to change, like he was a film on fast forward, but otherwise moving slowly. Luna noticed that his small movements were jerky as they happened at lightning speed. The air seemed to spark and sizzle around them. Kingsley's laughter rose above the rumbling of power, and he raised his scythe. He seemed to glow as he absorbed power into him, blowing back his hood. Ragnar yelled out to him, You have enough power yet? No, Kingsley yelled, his voice deep and unearthly. Need more power. Kingsley started laughing as the room started to shake. Now you see the glory of power. How does it compare to your mortal morality? The skin on Kingsley's head and hands started to peel and wither away as he laughed. The slave becomes a master. For I am death, destroyer of worlds. Kingsley slowly felt himself pushed from Pandora's box as he laughed. Then he turned around and Luna screamed. She was not alone, however. All the flesh had left Kingsley's face. Even his eyes were gone. Standing before them was the skeletal figure of death itself. Kingsley, or the being that used to be Kingsley, laughed. Bow before death. Then something odd happened. Kingsley started to float away from them and from Pandora's box. It was hard to tell with Kingsley's lack of facial features, but he seemed rather confused by this. As Kingsley started floating through one of the doorways surrounding the circular room, he started to panic. Wait, no. What is this magic? Luna slowly followed Kingsley into the room, followed by Harry and Luna. Everyone else seemed too scared to follow, whether out of fear or the will of the magic that filled the air. Luna did not know. Luna looked down as she entered the room of death and saw Kingsley slowly floating towards the veil. As Kingsley saw the veil, he started screaming as he dropped his scythe to the floor. No, what's happening? I have power. I won. Help. Then, as Kingsley was feet away from the veil of death, he began to unleash his magic and shook the room as he began to break free from the veil's magnetic pull. Then, to Luna's horror, a ghostly arm reached out from behind the veil and grabbed Kingsley's deathly robes. Kingsley fell forward onto his knees as another hand grabbed him by the legs. Kingsley cried out for help as he reached forward, clawing at the rocky floor, feebly fighting the hands as they dragged him further and further into the veil. As Kingsley's legs entered the veil, Kingsley yelled, "Harry, Luna, someone, anyone please help me." Luna numbly shook her head. Whatever was happening was beyond anyone's control. She and Harry could feel the power, far greater than even Pandora's box. Kingsley's body had all but entered the veil when he grasped onto the veil's archway with his brittle bone hands. Then something happened that Luna would never forget. A ghostly figure emerged from the veil, a figure which resembled a woman of golden hair and large silver eyes. Luna's breath caught in her throat as she uttered, "Mum!" Harry looked at Luna confused. "What did you say?" Luna pointed in horror. "Don't you see her?" Harry shook his head before pulling Luna close to himself. Luna wanted to look away, but she couldn't. She had to see this. Kingsley looked up and seemed to plead with the spirit only he and Luna could see. "No, not you. Please, have mercy on me. I'm sorry for everything I've done, but I can change. I swear I." Suddenly, Pandora smiled before letting out an inhuman cry that had Luna covering her ears. Harry suddenly tensed as his eyes widened. He heard the banshee cry. The spirit bared its long, razor-sharp fangs and hissed at Kingsley, who screamed in absolute horror as he saw an otherworldly blue fire in the spirit's eyes. Then it happened. The scythe Kingsley had dropped suddenly shot from the floor and toward Kingsley's skeletal skull, blade first. Kingsley let go of the archway and was sucked behind the veil. The blade entered just as quickly and seemed to hit something. The handle stuck through the veil and shook from the impact. Then it, too, slowly disappeared behind the veil, and everyone went silent and still. Luna was certain of only one thing. Whatever had emerged from the veil to claim Kingsley's soul was not Pandora's. Harry whispered, "What the bloody hell was that?" "I can't say for certain, and I reckon we will never know for sure," Luna spoke softly. "When one is surrounded by too much death, it can consume them." It was as if he was more dead than alive, and death rectified that. He sacrificed all trace of not only humanity, but life itself. He was dead the moment he stepped out of Pandora's box. All this desire for power, and in the end he was just a slave to the power of death, Luna uttered. When one is surrounded by too much death, it can consume them. It was as if he was more dead than alive, and death rectified that. All this desire for power, and in the end he was just a slave to the power of death. "Harry, Luna," Ron's voice called out. "We have a situation here." Harry and Luna glanced at each other before running back into the main room. The noise that hit them was made all the more jarring from the sudden silence from earlier. The buzzing hum being emitted from Pandora's box was deafening, and the room was shaking viciously, as if the gates of hell had been opened. The air sparkled with electricity, and the shadows of the room flared with light. Hermione struggled to remain on her feet, but managed to reach Luna and Harry. "It's going haywire," Ragnar says. "If it doesn't stop, it's going to wipe out the whole country. That is, unless the bomb doesn't destroy it first." Harry shouted over the roaring magic. "How long before the bomb strikes?" Hermione's eyes looked hopelessly into Harry's. 1 minute, 1 minute, Harry repeated. Hermione nodded drearily. "I don't know what to do." "No one does." The three remained silent as Hermione glanced over at Ron. It was Luna who spoke, somehow being heard with just a whisper. "Go to him, Hermione." Hermione threw her arms around Harry briefly before running to Ron. Both resembled scared children and not the leader of a rebellion. Harry looked to Luna, whose eyes revealed nothing. "You aren't going to do what I think you will, right?" Luna tilted her head before nodding softly. "Probably." Harry grasped onto Luna's hand, tightly causing her to look up at him. "Luna, there's nothing I can say that will change your mind, is there?" Luna smiled softly before looking up into Harry's eyes. "No." "I don't think there is." Harry nodded before whispering, "Please don't do it, Luna." Luna looked tearfully at Harry and kissed him. "I have to try. You know, I have to. I feel it in my very soul. This is my destiny, what I've been destined to do. This is the end of the journey." Harry felt tears start to fall as he whispered meekly, "I'll go with you." Luna chuckled. "You would dare. I'd never forgive you if you did." Harry heard one of the Muggle generals call out, 30 seconds. Harry gripped onto Luna's shoulders and whispered, "I'll wait for you." Luna shook her head. "I know, but don't wait too long. I don't think I'll be coming back." Harry shuddered as he hugged Luna. "I can't let go. I can't go on without you." "You won't have to," Luna whispered before whispering into his ear. "The ones who leave us never truly leave us. I swear to you, Harry, I will never leave you again. I love you, Harry Potter, with all my heart and soul." Luna then kissed Harry passionately before turning around and marched towards Pandora's box, her eyes fixed firmly on the blinding white light. "Luna!" Luna heard voices call out to her, but she ignored them, grimly focusing on her destiny. The Muggle general began to count down to the Muggle bomb's destruction. 12, 11, 10. Luna frowned as she felt the counting begin to slow down before stopping altogether. Luna looked back and saw everyone moving at a glacial pace, as if time itself was slowing, which it probably was. Luna felt every laborious step as electricity seemed to shoot through her, slowly filling her with magic that felt familiar to her, the magic of her mother. Luna heard the general slowly call out, 9. Luna took a deep breath as her very soul seemed to vibrate and gave one last look to Harry before entering into Pandora's box, and everything went white. It took over a minute of Luna's time before her eyes adjusted to the brightness. Luna looked around her and felt her mouth drop. The room was infinitely large. In fact, Luna was certain the only way it fit in the Ministry of Magic was some very powerful warding spells. The room was at least the size of the Muggle auditorium, if not larger, and a seemingly infinite number of runes had been carved into the walls, overlapping each other in ways only Pandora understood. Not even those crafting this great work of art and innovation could possibly understand. Luna surmised, however, that they understood more than she did. Luna raised her hand and noted distantly that her hand was blurry and the buzz of energy was tickling every inch of her brain. Luna felt her eyes move with a will of their own, looking upon the bright ball of light in the center of the room. Luna slowly approached it. With every step she took, she felt herself appear in a different part of the room, yet for every step she took, she was always one step closer. I oyo I all you yoyo I oi zero I wi oh you oh I wi oyo I o you oyo you. Suddenly, with another step, Luna was thrust into the white light and felt her soul cry out as her body vibrated with magic like she had never known. Luna's sight was awash in a wave of colors and visions like she had never seen before. She saw things that were impossible. She saw things inconceivable. She saw what only dead men know, and she witnessed the birth and fall of the universe. She felt like she saw everything, but her mind retained nothing. No mortal could. Luna felt herself start to scream for no reason, but had a vague feeling her soul had gone mad. Gravity seemed to implode on her, and her spirit seemed to expand. She felt her body leave her, or did she leave it? Luna wasn't certain of anything anymore. Luna wished she could faint, lose consciousness, anything to prevent the overwhelming power from conquering her weak soul. Her spirit was bludgeoned by darkness, and suddenly she felt like she was falling into the iris of Cyrus, which seemed to cover a vastness of space thousands of feet below her, but she had no feet, and time had no meaning. She felt darkness consume her as she fell into the blackness of the eye, and Luna almost felt relief that she might be dead. even if it was just for a moment's rest. Luna Lovegood welcome to Pandora's box. Luna wearily looked up, every nerve in her spirit twitching. Her nerves were on fire, and her mind was awash in ice. Luna felt as if she should reply, but she could not think rational thought. Rationality seemed like a stranger to her. She just panted as her voice shook, despite having no body to breath from. Luna heard the voice speak again, and her mind latched onto the voice, clinging onto it desperately with whatever sanity she still possessed. Moonchild, you have done well. I am immensely proud of you. Luna felt her mind start to hum a random, tuneless melody of notes as her consciousnesses slowly regained control of her shattered spirit. It felt like an eternity before Luna was able to comprehend the being before her. She felt herself spin as she waved phantom arms through the air, letting laughter flow through her very being. Finally, after a long manic laugh exploded from her mind, Luna finally uttered, I thought you were imaginary. Cyrus, the being Luna had only met once before, again spoke. Of course I'm imaginary, just like the Nargles, but that does not mean we are not real. The Cyclops seemed to breath magic as she whispered. Warned you of the Nargles, that they would mislead you. I never told you I would as well. Nevertheless, you did leave Harry, and the Nargles made certain your father set in motion the events that revealed the Earth Mother to you and ended the Earth Father's life. Luna felt her mind regain a vague sense of clarity, enough so she could ask the question. What are you? Why did I have to leave Harry? Why did Father have to die? Everything that has happened, needed to happen, veer from the course even slightly, and it could very well lead to the destruction you must prevent. As for what I am, I, like the Nargles, am a part of your mother. Your true mother, the Moon Mother, Luna countered weakly. My mother wouldn't have had my father killed. You are right about that. Your mother knew it was necessary. If Xenophilius did not act the way he did, that he would die anyway, along with you and all they both held dear. She knew this, but she wasn't strong enough to do such a thing. But I could. The Nargles were her drive, her madness, her love of anarchy. I am Pandora's sight, her vision, created by the runes that surround us. I am also the darkness of her soul. The strength to do what must be done long after she is gone. We all have darkness in our souls. Pandora was no different. Now my work is done, for you are here at last. The secret of magic is all around you, but the answer is already in your mind. Did she envision my death? Do I need to die, for her cause, for the secret of magic? Luna asked bitterly. Pandora did not know what would happen. I, however, find it unlikely you will ever be the same again. Cyrus answered with what was either a wink or simply the blinking of its only eye. Luna looked around and whispered, I don't know the answer, the secret of magic. The more I search, the more I have come to understand one truth. There is no secret to magic. Cyrus chuckled. Though not the correct answer, you are right. That was as far as even Pandora ever got. Even I do not know the answer, and that is part of the secret. Magic isn't meant to be known. It isn't meant to be understood. If it was, it wouldn't be magic now, would it? Luna felt her spirit grow cold with failure. Then there is nothing I can do. I failed. You condemn yourself too fast. You must discover the secret to our ability to use magic. But know this, by discovering the secret to magic, you will be unable to take advantage of it unless you can truly let go of any and all concept of reality. You must forget the difference between dreams and reality. Only by letting go completely can you both understand and still wield magic. Only then can you save your friends from destruction and give magic to the world. Only then can you fulfill your mother's dream. Luna remained silent in deep thought, almost panicking when Cyrus again spoke. Time does not exist here. If you remain here, it would take a lifetime before the bomb strikes. Take your time. So Luna did. She let her mind wander. She thought of her mother and how she seemed to go mad as she delved further and further into the secrets of magic. How she cursed herself with the memory charm. It's madness, Luna realized coldly. The secret to magic is madness. Cyrus laughed darkly. You are closer than you realize, and could not be more wrong. That sadly was the mistake you mother made. By the time she learned otherwise, she had damaged her mind too much to wield the secret of magic without having to erase it from her mind. I will give you the clue. Madness and the secret of magic are two sides of the same coin. You see, madness is not the secret to magic, but power. Power and magic are two sides of the same coin. That is why you live. You entered Pandora's box seeking magic. Kingsley desired power and he got it. All the power he ever wanted and then some. The world is not lacking in power. Everyone has power and most desire more of it. Be they wizard or muggle, it is magic that all of us seem to lack. It is magic that will save the world, for without it, we are animals and we will destroy each other. Luna felt herself frown. You make it sound so simple, Cyrus laughed with mirth and sorrow. That is because it is so simple. We all have it. We are all born with it. Yet somewhere along the way, we lose it. Whether it's from lost souls of adults telling us to grow up. Whether it's the society that sees it as a threat and beats it out of you. Sometimes life itself crushes our spirit and we lose what made us so special. Once we lose magic, we forget how to love, we forget how to care, we forget how to feel empathy and compassion. Worst of all, we forget how to be human, and that is the greatest crime of all. Luna felt she would cry if she had a body to cry from. Have I lost this? Maybe. I wouldn't know. If you have. You never lost it for long. That is why we are so special. The one you love, he lost it. He never truly got it back until he met you. It is contagious in that sense. Luna questioned. Is it not love then? No, but love inspires and fuels it like nothing else. That is how Lily protected his son from the Dark Lord. She never understood what she was doing, nor did she care. She wished with all her might and all her magic for her child to survive. Her magic protected her child, and the rest is history. Luna felt as if the answer was on the tip of her nose when she shouted, Faith! Ha! Cyrus laughed harshly like a nargle. Close, so close it burns, but so wrong. Like your beliefs in your magical creatures, even if many are right, there are many that are not. Moon frog are a laughable proposition. Your faith misled you as often as it steered you home. I don't understand. Luna snapped defensively. Cyrus sighed wearily. Faith is rigid. It does not bend. Faith is a stick. Try to bend it and it breaks. People fight to defend the stick, they kill to protect the stick, and they die for the stick. They do all these things to keep the stick intact. When that stick is broken, then they simply hold it together and pretend they don't see the crack. Better than admitting that they have been wrong and foolish all along. As similar as faith is to the secret of magic, it is the enemy of magic. The world is not rigid, it is round and largely made of water. It flows, Cyrus whispered. Luna was silent, taking most of the Cyclops' words, though she was certain moon frogs were real. Luna's mind seemed to fade from consciousness as she pursued the answers she sought. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, LETYOURMIND FFFFFFFLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLL Water, water. Luna felt her mind spinning. She felt the iris of Cyrus open up, and she felt herself fall in. She felt herself claw at the emptiness as she pleaded for an answer. No answer came, nothing but darkness and emptiness. Nothing but failure, broken hearts and broken dreams. She heard the screams of every soul that she would fail if she did not discover the secret, souls screaming out as the bombs struck. She saw what was about to happen if she failed, and it began to tear her soul apart. Then she heard another voice, a calmer voice, a voice Luna knew only too well. Luna, let go. Luna looked to her side and saw her mother looking at her with tears of pride. Luna, you are indeed special, and it is not because of your magic, but your mind. You have an incredible imagination, and that is the key. Mother, Luna whispered reverently, reaching out to her. Pandora slowly began to float away as she whispered. Remember Flamel's teaching, let your mind go. Remember the answers you seek are not on a piece of paper, but in your heart. Luna focused her mind and let everything fall away from her. She remembered her mother, and she remembered her father. She smiled at the thought of her newly found Uncle Evan. But most of all, her heart went out to Harry and the desire to finish this all for him, to finish her quest and live the rest of her life with him. Luna let her mind race on everything her family ever said, and in that moment, Luna remembered the words her newly found uncle told her. Luna felt her heart ache as she whispered the deepest and most desperate desire of her young heart. Family! Luna suddenly let her mind spin away from her quest, from magic, and only thought of the man she loved. She imagined the future, him proposing in the paradise of Xanadu. She imagined the wedding day she prayed would come to pass. She even imagined the children they would have. She imagined what she dared not dream before. These were not things children dream of, but Luna knew better. She stopped being a child a long time ago. Luna remembered what Harry had told her. Dumbledore told him that it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live, but he was wrong. Dreams are what we live for. In the darkest point of our existence, our dream is the small speck of light that guides us. Dreams are what makes the world go around. It is what makes us aspire to greatness and allows us to pursue happiness. Without dreams, we would never have learned to stand. What are dreams? Luna suddenly laughed, her spirit's laughter echoing in the emptiness of Pandora's box. Luna was euphoric with bliss as she realized the secret of magic, so simple she had to laugh. After everything she'd been through, after all that had happened, the answer was stupidly simple. It can't be so simple, though, could it? Luna heard Pandora's voice echo through her while the Nargles cackled behind her. It should be simple, dear child. Doubt is the enemy. We have been taught so much doubt, and as long as we doubt, even a little, witches and wizards are slaves to the laws of magic. Only now, after everything you've seen, and after everything you've experienced, can you truly understand, with every ounce of your being. Nothing is impossible elbasatmi si nitten, everything is infinite etanifni si nitterev, the reality of magic sigam fo italer 8, defies reality italer saved. Imagination nortanigami, that is the key yek 8 see that. Medet setup Otsunigami medet setup, Otsunigami medet setup. Imaginatio potestatum. Imaginatio potestatum. Hermione cried out as she saw Luna run into Pandora's box. She cried out in shock and horror. Everyone except Harry, whose eyes remained unblinking at Pandora's box. Hoping beyond hope, he did not just see Luna for the last time. The Muggle general continued counting down. 9, 8, 7, Ragnar roared as he rounded on the Muggle. Will you cut that out? Then they heard it. A voice unlike any they heard before. A voice of power, of determination, of otherworldly knowledge. A voice only Harry could recognize. The voice cried out with all of its being, and Harry felt the floor beneath him shake. Imaginatio potestatum. Then there was a blinding light that forced everyone's eyes closed. The voice Harry knew that was Luna's kept going, as if time was speeding up, as it rose in pitch, higher than a banshee's and more beautiful than a siren's. Then everything went silent and the light was gone. Harry opened his eyes and saw Pandora's box was empty. The walls were void of all runes, and no white light was inside, only the light of the sun. Harry ran inside and looked up. The ceiling of Pandora's box was missing, as was the ceiling of over 9 stories worth of ceilings, and the roof of the ministry itself had a huge hole in it. Really? Oh, the jolly good, sir. Jolly good indeed. The Muggle general exclaimed with pride before announcing to the eerily quiet room. The nuclear missile seems to have vanished. It just flickered before vanishing from existence. Where is she? Harry asked, his voice empty as he looked around him. No one responded to him, they all just looked at him. Harry turned away from the looks and raised his wand. She's here somewhere, Harry, Hermione whispered. Harry could hear the tears in her voice, which caused him to spin around. Harry's eyes blazed as he stared down Hermione. Don't you say it, Hermione. Don't you dare. Luna's fine, we just have to find her. She saved the goblins, Ragnar uttered reverently. The Goblin Nation owes her spirit a life department. You're damn right, and you can tell her that when we find her, Ragnar, Harry yelled with a hoarse voice. Come to your senses and don't be a human, Ragnar snapped. Don't let your heart blind your mind from the truth you know. The girl is dead. Ragnar, Hermione yelled, appalled at the goblin. Harry shouted, She's not. Dead, Ragnar roared. If you truly believed she lived, you could say the damn word. The sooner you accept it, the sooner you can honor her life. Someone started wailing in a high, whiny voice as Harry drew his wand at Ragnar, blinking back tears. Take it back. She did not give her life for you to ignore the existence of her sacrifice, Ragnar growled. Harry was cut off by an even louder wail. Harry saw it was Evan crying and shouted. Shut up! Everyone stared at Harry stunned, but none more so than Harry himself, who was mortified. Evan, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Before Evan knew, Harry wrapped his arms around him and started crying, repeating, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hermione realized he wasn't speaking to Evan anymore as Ginny took Harry into her arms and Harry cried. Hermione felt tears run down her own cheek, and in the corner of her eye caught Ragnar rubbing his eyes. The goblin snorted with a thin voice. What? My eyes are itchy. Do goblins get itchy? Hermione asked. Ragnar growled. Just die already. Really? You certain? Well, that's most unordinary now, isn't it? The Muggle general uttered. Well, of course it is. It's not every day a girl falls from the sky now, isn't it? Harry looked up. What did you say? A girl's falling from the sky now, excuse me. The Muggle returned to his walkie-talkie. No, the song's called Raining Men. No, I don't know what song you're thinking of. Ragnar looked up as he walked back into the empty room of Pandora's box. Well, I'll be damned. Harry ran to Ragnar with everyone else hot on his heels as he looked up. Harry's jaw dropped as he saw the lithe form of Luna plummeting towards him. Harry raised his wand and cried out. Arresto momentum. Harry watched as Luna's descent slowed until she softly floated to the floor like a feather. Harry gently caught and rested her on the floor. Luna cried as he looked up. She's alive. Hermione knelt down and took in Luna's unconscious body. She fired some charms and whispered. Her brain is in shock, like it's been overloaded. Luna opened her eyes, which crossed before she shut them, and muttered, Cyclopses have gorgeous eyes. Of course they do. Hermione replied before looking to Harry. We need to get her to St. Mungo's. She needs serious medical attention. Harry nodded distantly as he took Luna back into his arms. Don't worry, I've got you. I've got you, Luna. I'm not going anywhere. Haralurvis Loony. Luna giggled deliriously before finally passing out. Chapter 51. A Lesson in Latin. Hermione's face was well hidden behind the guard that escorted her through the ministry auditorium. Yet her eyes did little to hide the turmoil in her heart. She saw the eyes of strangers. Some belonged to former friends and colleagues. Outside of the LLR and the closest of friends, she trusted nobody, and they might be possessed. Hermione looked over to Ron, who looked over to her as he finished speaking to Ginny before heading towards them. Hermione stared into Ron's eyes as he walked over, before nodding to herself, seeing no sign of possession in her love's eyes. Ron spoke when he reached them, gazing at the gun not so subtly aimed at his head. So where are you off to in such a hurry? Hermione noticed the nervous guard and pulled Ron to the side, out of the gun's aim. If you must know, I have a meeting with Magic is Might. Hermione had always read when you were about to die, time slows down and your life flashes before your eyes. That was a lie. Everything happens really fast. Hermione didn't realize the curse had missed her until the ground beneath her exploded and sent her flying across the room. The guard beside her dropped to the floor. Suddenly, a reducto hit the floor and Hermione was sent flying across the room. Hermione looked up and saw the fear in her guard's empty eyes, fear he no longer felt. Hermione ducked back down as explosions and gunfire filled the room. Hermione rose to her hands and knees and saw the attackers weren't Totalitter, Goblin, or Muggles, but regular wizards with faces painted red. The man charged screaming, Magic is might, magic is might. Hermione drew her wand fast, but the bullets flew faster, tearing through her attacker and leaving him a bloody mess, dead on the ministry floor. Hermione rose to her feet and saw other wizards attacking the ministry. Then Hermione's heart caught in her throat as she saw Ron lying on the floor holding a mangled arm and ran to him. She was in the process of stabilizing Ron's broken arm when the goblins burst onto the scene. Magic is might. Magic is might. Magic is Mig Granger. Hermione snapped to attention as she looked at the people around the table. Sorry, You need rest. I don't have time to rest. I want to know what the bloody hell is going on. Hermione snapped irritably. We are on the verge of global warfare. Can it not be stopped? The Minister of Magic asked anxiously as she looked around the table. The Queen uttered softly. I'm afraid the power in England belongs to neither us royalty or the Prime Minister. It is the masters of war which run the country now, and as long as they profit from it, there will be a war. The minister slammed her hand on the table and shouted, What profit can be found in Armageddon? When you are the last person on earth, you don't have to share. The minister looked to the other figure at the table who continued with a growl. Half of the goblin force is roaming the country, ambushing villages. The Totalitter have become an organization of terror. This is not just a war that cannot be prevented, it is inevitable. Country against country, people against people. Everyone is fighting this war, and all sides have been split in two. The minister looked between the other two leaders and hissed, We cannot just sit back and let a world war break out. A world war which will eclipse the first two world wars. We are talking about the end of modern civilization. I refuse to let this happen. We can't stop two people from defending themselves. As long as there are instigators, there must be retaliation. The only other option is unconditional surrender. The Queen replied bitterly. Ragnar sighed as he rubbed his bald head. If only Luna was here. The minister raised an eyebrow. That's it. You're saying Luna is our only hope. She is only one person and is in no condition to help anybody right now. The girl has astonishingly captured the hearts of goblins, wizards, and muggles. She already had quite the following before the ministry coup. The events of Pandora's box and her escape from the clutches of Dolores Umbridge were intended to be kept secret. So, of course, there isn't a soul alive who hasn't heard the tale. Ragnar uttered bitterly. The Queen nodded solemnly. Luna Lovegood is a modern-day saint. She is seen by many as a prophet, a saint by others, and a leader to be followed. Luna, they think she's all this. She's brilliant, sure, but she's just Luna, the minister asked incredulously. They never met the girl, but rumors spread. The Queen uttered. The people know what is coming. The Cuban Missile Crisis wasn't as foreboding to this great Earth as this war. The world is praying that she can save them. Luna in their eyes is our last hope. The minister sighed with dismay. They are probably right, but Luna can't do anything right now. She's already paying the price for saving them once. Without Luna, what is our course of action? There is only one thing we can do, Minister Granger. Ragnar answered grimly. Prepare for war. Today shall be a day of reckoning. The times ahead shall be rough, and our own children cannot be trusted. The Queen herself has forsaken us to the mercy of the Magi, even going as far as to help them with their dastardly deeds. The war we fight will not only be for our survival, but for our freedom. May God have mercy on our souls, for our enemy has none. The Muggle Prime Minister uttered solemnly. The man behind him was invisible as he controlled the Prime Minister's action with a wave of his wand. Hermione's face was well hidden behind the guard that escorted her. Yet her eyes did little to hide the turmoil in her heart. She saw the eyes of strangers, some belonged to former friends and colleagues. Outside of the LLR and the closest of friends, she trusted nobody, and they might be possessed. She stopped as her guards parted, revealing a healer rose. If you are here to see Mr. Weasley, he is recovering from the skeel grow. He should be ready to leave by 11 p.m. tonight, I already know. I'm here to see Luna Lovegood and her visitor. Has there been any progress? Hermione asked with a hopeful tone. The healer held a hint of pity in her eyes as she shook her head. If anything, we've had a distinct lack of progress. The healer looked around the hallway before whispering to Hermione. It doesn't make sense. All forms of magic reveal her to be in perfect physical and mental health. Yet her condition hasn't changed. Her magical core is as small as it is unstable, and she seems almost traumatized. Hermione sighed sadly. We all are traumatized, but I doubt any of us have gone through nearly as much as she has. It's not PTS. If that is what you refer to. The healer looked real nervous now as she glanced at the Muggle guards, and Hermione remembered the vow of secrecy she had demanded from the healer. Hermione turned to her guards and gestured. I know it's a new thing for wizards and witches to speak of these things in the presence of colleagues, but they are sworn to secrecy. The Majesty's Guard will not betray our secrets. The nurse fidgeted before saying, It's like whatever she saw in this room of magic you spoke of. It traumatized her with knowledge, colors, and visions at an overwhelming rate. The human mind can only take so much, and her mind seems to have shut down to a certain extent, oblivious to the world. For the most part, she just stares at things only she can see. She doesn't speak, she hardly blinks. It's like we don't exist to her. No one can reach her or get through to her. But one. Hermione nodded as she kindly dismissed her guards for the evening. Take me to them. Across the ocean, another totalitor waved his wand as the President of the United States of America uttered, We will declare war on all countries that defend and protect the Magi, allowing their evil to pollute us. Those countries including Britain, Australia, Canada, Sweden, China, and Russia, the reporters cried out, one being heard over the mob. Wasn't Russia anti-Magi? There will be no further questions, announced the leader of the free world, now no more than a puppet. Hermione composed herself as she approached the room at the end of the seventh-floor hallway. It was hidden under a fidelicious charm to everyone but those Harry told. Outside of a few mind healers, Hermione was the only other person he told. Harry was reluctant even to do that. Even the Weasleys were not given access to see Luna, and it was Ginny who was able to figure out why. Hermione knocked on the door and heard Harry's voice call her in. The mind healer entered as Hermione followed behind her. Harry was facing away from the door, with Luna leaning on his shoulder. Harry looked over his shoulder before whispering into Luna's ear and helping the girl sit up on her own. Luna's head seemed to wobble before focusing on something. Hermione walked around and looked Luna in the face of their only hope. Luna's eyes were always dreamy, but right now she indeed seemed oblivious to the world. Her eyes surveying the room lackadaisically, tracking the movements of something that wasn't there. Luna pointed at it as her other hand poked Harry. Harry looked to Hermione as the nurse started casting diagnostic spells on Luna. Harry whispered something to Luna before following Hermione out of the room. Harry rested against the wall and rubbed his eyes with exhaustion. About time you visited again. If you weren't so busy, I'd be insulted. Hermione ignored his comment before whispering, How are you holding up? Harry shrugged. It doesn't matter. I'm not the one who needs to be helped up. Luna's being taken care of, Harry. Hermione answered with concern. I'm worried about who's taking care of you. When's the last time you've slept? I sleep a lot, Harry lied tiredly. I just don't sleep well. Hermione nodded before pulling Harry into a comforting hug. She'll be okay, I know she will, Harry sighed. How can you be so certain? Hermione smiled softly as she pulled back from the embrace. I believe that if there was something Luna could not overcome, she would never have made it this far. Hermione looked into the room as Luna stared out the window with a slight frown. Harry noticed this and replied, Whatever is wrong with her, she's still got her intelligence. She realizes it's only a glamour, but seems dead set on figuring out what it is. Maybe it would do her well to have more company. Hermione spoke carefully, not at all surprised when Harry rebuffed her. I don't want anyone to see her like this. She needs to use that brain of hers if she is going to recover, Hermione replied sharply. For Merlin's sake, they say I'm the smartest witch of my generation. I think we both know who that prize really belongs to. Harry nodded before uttering darkly. But she had a different title, didn't she? Hermione stared at Harry as she remembered Ginny's words. Hermione whispered. She wasn't the first genius to be a cold loony. She won't be the last. Harry snapped. What do you think they will say if they see her like this? Your friends will not call her loony. Hermione scolded sharply. No, not to her face or mine, but they will think it and whisper it. Harry replied morosely. They'd be right too. She is so much more. She deserves better than that. Harry looked at Hermione's sad eyes. The healers say that. Whatever happened in Pandora's box warped her sense of reality and perception of consciousness. She doesn't speak, and her brain activity is not of a person who is conscious, but one who is dreaming. She used to speak of a veil. Not a literal one, but one that seemed to keep the world and the people in it at arm's reach from her. She said the more time she spent with me, the more the veil seemed to fade. Now it feels like it's back, and she can no longer see through it at all. Hermione listened silently before she whispered, Do they have any idea how long she will be like this? Harry shook his head. 7 minutes, 7 days, 7 years, 7 lifetimes. They don't know. Hermione muttered under her breath. You won't have to worry about 7 years. What's that? Harry asked before he was distracted by the healer who has just exited the room. The healer whispered, I have conjured a self-playing piano as per your request. Other than that, let me know if you notice any changes. Hermione spoke up. What is her magical core at? The healer looked to Harry, who nodded before answering. 2. Hermione looked at the healer in shock. She's a squib then. Truly, she can't do magic. That core is almost at the level of a muggle's. The healer nodded. I'm afraid her spell-casting days are over. Hermione gripped Harry's hand for support, who gripped it back tightly. I'm going to have a quick word with Harry. Can you wait for me before I visit Ron? Of course, Minister Granger, the healer replied before turning to Harry. Oh, I forgot. What music did you want to play? Harry regained his composure enough to whisper. She likes Beethoven. The healer nodded with a wave of her wand before walking down the hallway. Harry frowned as he took in something Hermione had said. What's wrong with Ron? Hermione bristled. Broke his arm, had to have the bones vanished and regrown. What happened? Harry asked sharply. It was nothing. Hermione paused, meeting Harry's eyes before sighing in defeat. There was an attempt on my life. What? Harry shouted. Who was it? The totalitter, the goblins. It was a blood purist, Harry. Hermione hissed bitterly. I wasn't in any danger. I had Ragnar's guard deflect the Reducto curse well enough, but Ron just had to chase after him. Got his arm broken, didn't even catch him. The goblins did that, and made a mess of things by executing the man on the spot, right on the ministry floor. The press blamed me. Merlin I was giving the goblins hell, and when Ragnar arrived, then he ordered the offending guard to be executed. Was able to stop that, thank Merlin's eyes, but I was this close to breaking Ragnar's nose. Hermione cursed under her breath, alarming Harry as she continued to vent. I'm the first Muggle born to ever hold the title of minister, and it was due to an emergency assembly of a previously defunct Wisengamot. I'm not a popular witch right now. I'm trying to prevent the Third World War, a war that would eliminate life from this earth, and I can't even unite the people I have sworn to serve. Hermione took a deep breath as her voice started to crack. All I ever wanted was to make a difference. I've dreamed of being the first Muggle-born minister of magic for years, but not like this. Not only that, I will be the last minister. I could not live with such a distinction, but I guess that's the point. I won't have to. You can stop this war, I know you can. Besides, look at how much you have achieved in 8 years, Harry replied. For Merlin's sake, the Hermione I first met worshipped the rules and authority, and now you have overthrown a magical government run by a ruthless dictator. You should be proud of what you have accomplished. Hermione shook her head. No, I can't. I can't keep it together, Harry. I have so many things I wish to achieve and accomplish. It's consuming my life. It is my life. I love this, not the burgeoning war or the assassination attempts, but I love being the minister. I love making a difference, but I fear that, Hermione looked away. I like being in charge. I like it too much. Am I no different than a Harry? Am I no better than Umbridge? Harry smiled. The fact that you are worried of becoming Umbridge shows that you aren't her. You are Hermione Granger, and you will always want to help people any way you can, just like Luna. Hermione gave a small smile before she looked to Luna, whose eyes were closed as a soft tune played itself on the piano. She's our only hope, Harry. Hermione couldn't help but notice how tired Harry looked as he stared at Luna. He looked so broken to her. I know, in more ways than one. She never wanted to be a saint. Neither of us did. In the end, we both sacrificed ourselves to the betterment of others. Hermione nodded as she felt her heart ache for every time she had believed Harry was dead, every injury he went through, all the pain he suffered. She also thought about how much Luna had been through and everything they both had lost. It wasn't worth it. You both sacrificed too much. For what? A couple more years or even days. Until we change our ways, all saints and martyrs die in vain. Hermione sniffed as she bit back her tears. You gave too much to people who don't deserve it. Luna and I gave nothing for them, Harry whispered softly. We did it for the people we loved. We did it for each other. We did it for you and the rest of our friends. We did it for people who have suffered like we have suffered. I've long stopped trying to figure out why I am the way I am, why I have what you call a saving people thing. Maybe it's just who we are. Maybe some people are destined to suffer for the good of others. Harry was silent for a moment before he said, maybe I like it. I like the way I feel when I help someone. I like the attention of being a hero. I like the pride it gives me, and I like proving people wrong. I liked having a purpose. When Voldemort was gone, I felt empty. At first, I thought it was the war and the grief from it. The grief faded with time, and I still felt empty. I don't feel like my life started until I left for Hogwarts, and if that is so, then I spent my whole life fighting Voldemort. I wasn't grieving Hermione. I was bored. A part of me was disappointed that the war was over, and I hated that. I hated myself for that. I wanted to be someone else, so I ran away from myself and auras, and I found her. Harry turned around and abruptly walked into the room and sat by Luna before crying on her shoulder. Luna rested her head on Harry's while staring at something only she could see. Hermione shook her head with sorrow before leaving the couple. You should have killed the girl. You were foolish to let your compassion get in the way of our fight with the humans. A goblin cried out. Ragnar growled to his people. What is the use of having goblin friends if we do not treat them as such? The humans will destroy us along with themselves long before we achieve our rightful place on this earth. This is madness. Humans are mad. They should all drink elf blood. What? Shut up. Silence, Ragnar roared, silencing his goblins. We shall fight alongside the humans that respect us to keep this world inhabitable. Without an inhabitable planet, we will all find equality in the dirt. Better equality in the dirt than beneath the ones that put us there. Another goblin with a nasally voice squealed. One with a deep monolithic voice boomed. We must reunite with the real goblin king Dralak. Ragnar raised his sword and shouted, mention that traitor in my presence and I will butcher you all. Dralak, Ragnar heard from behind him as his own guard stabbed him in the arm with a dagger. Ragnar roared as his guards grabbed hold of him and then held him up to his people, who were all holding daggers. Dralak has agreed to let us rejoin his ranks, all crimes forgotten, if we bring him your head. Ragnar broke free and removed the dagger from his arm and impaled it into his guard, uttering a mocking growl of, Et tu, brute! A goblin lunged forward, but with a grin Ragnar drew his sword and yelled, Cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war. Harry didn't know when he had fallen asleep, but woke up to the sound of the piano still playing relaxing tunes. Yet Harry immediately noticed something was different. This song was haunting, sorrowful, and utterly beautiful. As Harry rubbed the sleep from his eyes, he had a sudden sense of déjà vu. He had heard this song before. Harry rose from the bed and saw Luna standing at the piano. At some point, the music must have stopped. something she responded to by playing this divine piece of music herself. Harry quietly rose from the bed as he slowly approached Luna as she played the song she had told him once was Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. Harry remembered the day. It seemed like years when he last saw her playing. Harry, his heart breaking as he realized Luna was still oblivious to the world, yet as he rested a hand on her shoulder, Luna smiled. Then Luna started playing a different song. It was just as beautiful as the last one, only more romantic and more blissful. Harry felt tears run down his eyes as he realized, even like this, she still loved him, and Harry wept as he embraced her. Luna then smiled and looked almost mischievous as she picked up the tempo, or maybe the song was supposed to go that way. Then Luna backed away from the piano that now played by itself and extended a hand to Harry. Harry slowly took it and started dancing. Harry couldn't keep from laughing as he led her through a slow dance across the room, which slowly got more and more playful. Harry lifted her into the air and Luna laughed, a sound Harry thought he'd never hear again. Harry kissed Luna and she kissed him back, and suddenly Harry forgot about everything. The inevitable war, the danger, the people he cared for. All he remembered was his love for the girl in his arms. Then the song slowed down and another soft song was playing. Luna smiled sadly as she rested her head on Harry's chest and allowed Harry to slowly dance with her. The piano slowly played slower and slower before stopping altogether, and Harry knew Luna had fallen asleep. Harry gently placed Luna back on the bed and tucked her in, before giving her a kiss on the cheek. "Luna, please come back to me. Please." Harry paused as before he slowly looked to the piano that had continued to play after Luna had abandoned it to dance with him, even though the spell had worn off. "Ron, we've got to hurry. You heard what the letter said," Hermione insisted as she pulled Ron by his good arm. "Hermione, that's not my good arm," Ron squeaked. "I'm not falling for that again," Hermione insisted. "You can't have any more pain potions. But that really is my bad arm." Bloody Ragnak. Ron went to say something else when someone collided into him, knocking Ron to the floor. Ron grabbed his real bad arm in pain as he howled on the floor. Harry looked down at Ron sheepishly. "Sorry, Ron." Harry grabbed Ron's arm and pulled him onto his feet, causing Ron to whimper in even more pain. Harry looked concerned. "How's the arm?" "Bloody fantastic." Ron spat sarcastically. Harry smiled with relief and gave him a pat on the back, right on his bad shoulder. "Merlin," Ron squeaked in obvious agony. Harry obliviously turned to Hermione. "Luna knows the secret of magic." Hermione's eyebrows shot up. "She's told you." Harry shook his head. "No, she's still not. Listen, Hermione, she caused the piano to play by itself after the healer's charm on it faded. She did this despite being a squib, nearly at Muggle-level magical core. Do you know what the secret of magic is?" Hermione asked impatiently. "Well, no, but then that's your job, Harry." Hermione cut him off, speaking quickly. "Get out of St. Mungo's, get out of London, get out of the country. Go somewhere remote and hide. We got a letter from Ragnarok. The Muggle world leaders have officially declared war on all magical people and creatures, along with anyone who sides with them, including rival countries who are also anti-magic. The world has officially declared a global civil war." "What in Merlin's name is a global civ? It's bad, Harry, really bad." Hermione shouted with a manic look in her eyes before they suddenly looked weak and tired. "If you can't help Luna, if she can't cure her before, run away. Both of you leave and get out of this country. Stay away from civilization, stay away from everyone and everything." Harry shook his head. "I'm not leaving you. I'm not leaving my friends, my people. I have to help any way I can." "You can't help," Hermione cried. "The only one who can help us now is Luna. Please, if she doesn't recover in time, get away from all of this pain. Luna would tell me where it was, but go to the paradise you stayed at after fleeing Hogwarts. You sacrificed enough for us. You've given enough. Just spend the rest of your lives together in love and happiness. It's the least you both deserve." Harry turned to Ron, who gripped Hermione's hand as she turned to him. "No, Hermione, I'm staying with you, but Harry, Go and imaginito botatum yourself out of this place. It's pronounced imaginatio potestatum. Ron, honestly, don't you read Latin? Hermione scolded with exasperation. Why the bloody hell would I read Latin? Mum always said it was a dead language anyway, Ron countered. Is now really the time for this? Harry tried to interrupt. Dead language. Half the spells we use are in Latin, Hermione uttered. Accio comes from the Latin word exerso, which means to summon. Defindo means to split or cut. Imaginatio potestatum translates to imagination power. However, in English, the spell roughly translates to the power of imagination, which of course makes no sense because a spell has to have a purpose, and not something as abstract as imagination and wingdar. Oh, for Merlin's sakes, the world is about to end, and you are giving me a lecture on Latin, Ron exclaimed. You're hopeless. No, she's brilliant, Harry uttered softly, reminding Ron and Hermione of his presence. He had a faraway look on his face, not unlike Luna's, and looked as if he had just been confounded. I got to go. See you later. Harry bolted down the hallway as Ron shouted. Harry, wait. There isn't going to be a later. Ron turned to Hermione, who looked hopelessly confused as she asked, Did I miss something? Hermione and Ron apparated into the Ministry of Magic to find a spear staring them in the face. The goblin growled. Drop your wands. Hermione rolled her eyes. For Merlin's sake, it's me, Hermione Granger, the Minister of Magic. Must we always go through this charade? The goblin nodded and jabbed the spear at her. Drop the wand, human minister. I have been summoned by Ragnarok himself. Stand aside, Hermione ordered before feeling another spear press against her back. Ron let out a startled whimper as he felt the same thing. The goblin grinned. Ragnarok is in a meeting. If you wish to go to that meeting, I would suggest you keep your wands. However, if I were you, I would drop the wand and come quietly, human. You answer to Dralak now. Suddenly, the goblin's head fell from his shoulders as a blur of speed flew between Ron and Hermione. First, Hermione heard the sound of two spears hitting the floor, then two round objects hit the floor with a slight bounce, then the thud of two bodies. Ron and Hermione both looked behind them to see a bloody Ragnarok who growled with a twitch in his eye. Never mention Dralak in my presence. Ragnarok looked to the two humans and huffed. About time you got here. My meeting was far from productive. I just lost half of my generals. The bloody fools fell on my sword. Hermione shook her head. It's war then. Ragnarok nodded. Yep, it's war. Our armies await us. The Totalitter are amassed in great numbers alongside the British Muggle army and Dralak forces, who is planning on back stabbing the humans. Meanwhile, the cities of the world are being evacuated as the world leaders are preparing to nuke the earth of all life. Hermione hardened her heart and whispered, I guess we must fight for the right to live on a scorched earth. Chapter 52. The Last Temptation of Luna Lovegood. Harry burst into room shouting, Luna, Luna. I know what. Harry trailed off. He saw Luna lying in the window staring at the ceiling, oblivious. Harry sighed as he felt the wind leave his sails. He sat down on the bed and brushed his hand through Luna's hair, causing her to close her eyes and lean into his hand. Luna, Harry was silent in deep thought as he thought about everything she had been through, everything she had achieved, and the task she still needed to finish before he spoke from his heart. A few days ago, though it feels longer, I was given an old essay of yours by Ginny. She made me read it, so blame her for it if you're upset about that. Harry closed his eyes as he gently caressed Luna's face, who smiled under his tender touch. You wrote about how you thought of me as your hero, not as the boy who lived, but just me. You wrote it before we began dating. I don't even think we had been friends that long. Not very many people understand me, not even my closest friends. In their defense, I never understood myself, to be honest. What you wrote. It meant a lot to me. It meant more than that. It gave me the courage to continue on, to keep fighting, strength I desperately needed. You see, that's what you do, Luna. You give me hope. You guide me out of darkness, even when you are lost in the woods. You always know what to say to make me smile. You've been like that ever since I've known you. I remember when I first met you, I was so young, so stupid. I thought you were someone to avoid, a girl that was so extremely abnormal. Even then, I guess the Dursleys' hatred of the abnormal had left its mark on me, however small it was. Later on, I got to know you better, the wisdom behind your whimsy, the gentleness of your spirit. Then I thought you were someone who should be pitied. How wrong I was. Hell, my first impression was more accurate for all it was worth. Harry shook his head at the thought. You're so much more than that, Luna. You are so much more than this. You're brilliant, you really are. You're the greatest person I have ever met in my life by far. You are always looking out for others, even those who mistreat you. You are always offering to lend a hand and lend comfort to others. You feel sympathy for those who try to destroy you. Even when things are tough, you would always face the day with a smile. In the darkest night, your eyes would shine as if it was the perfect day. It was impossible to spend time with you and not smile, even when smiling seemed impossible. You are perfect in every way, and you said you loved me. Me? I don't know what I ever did to deserve you. What am I without you? Without you, I would be nothing. Without you, I would still be surrounded by friends, yet I'd be utterly alone. You say I'm your hero. How could you say that? What could I have ever done for you that holds a candle to what you've done for me? You've given me love I've never known. You've given me comfort I never sought. And you gave me my life, a life I had never lived. You've gave me happiness even in the darkest of times, for you always remembered to turn on the light. You inspired this world to fight for change, for freedom, for equality. You inspired every single soul you ever touched, even the sainted souls Umbridge, Kingsley, Malfoy, Pansy, and even the Corners, even they envied your purity. You're my hero, Luna. You're not someone to be pitied or looked down upon. You should be looked up to, and you are. I look up to you, and I'm not alone. The whole world is waiting for you, Luna, waiting for you to come back, to get better. Waiting for you to help them out of this hole they've dug themselves in. To give them the answer, I know you don't know, but have deep in your heart. Even if it's just the words of comfort and hope that has inspired me every day I've known you. The world is on the brink of destruction, and only you can stop it. I know this weight must be a heavy burden to bear. Hell, it's the weight of the world on your shoulders, but you don't have to bear it alone. I'm here for you, Luna. I always will be, and I'll do anything for you. I just, I just can't stand to see you like this, so broken. Don't let this world weigh you down and drags you into the depths of madness and despair. Show them you are so much stronger than you are so much more than that. Show them the way, and show the world who Luna Lovegood really is. Show them what Luna Lovegood is capable of. Harry wiped his eyes as he felt Luna slowly grasp his hand. Harry quickly looked up and saw Luna staring at the glamour window before she finally spoke in a soft, raspy, and somewhat slurred whisper Harry struggled to hear. "It doesn't matter what I do, or who I help. I'm still loony to them. I just want to be Luna," Harry whispered softly. "Luna." Luna looked fearfully and started to shake as she squeezed Harry's hand tighter. "I'm scared. I'm confused. I don't know what's happening around me. I saw so many things, now I'm tired, and I still see so many things. I don't know if I'm dreaming or awake. I don't know if I'm alive or dead. I should have known it would end like this, completely mad just like Mother. I don't know what's real anymore. I know our love is real." "I know that much," Harry smiled as he gently hugged Luna and whispered. "I don't know much, but I know that together we can do anything. I've seen the proof. I know everything will be all right, no matter what happens, as long as we have each other." Luna whimpered softly. "You don't understand. I don't know who Luna is anymore," Harry recited with a sad grin. "Luna is a puzzle I hope to never truly solve, but want to spend the rest of my life trying to figure out. She says she loves me, and I believe her with all my heart. I know for certain that I love her." "You do," Luna whispered, with a glint of hope in her eyes. Harry nodded before kissing Luna on the lips. "Always." Harry felt Luna wrap her arms around his waist and crying into his chest, muttering, "Then I must be Luna, because I love you too." Harry smiled tearfully as tilted Luna's chin and kissed her, pouring his soul into the kiss. Luna kissed back as if her life depended on it, or at least her sanity, which probably did. As they broke apart, Luna started laughing, which melted Harry's heart. Luna giggled. "I'm still confused, but at least I have you," Harry grinned. "If you don't know what's real and what's not, don't fight it. Embrace it. That is the secret to magic, isn't it?" Luna nodded slowly. Imaginatio potestatum. It was in front of us this whole time. We were looking so hard for the secret of magic. We weren't able to see it written right under our noses. "It can't be that simple, though, can it?" Harry asked, shaking his head. "I mean, you are telling me after everything we've been through, after everything we've seen, the secret of magic is something as saccharine as the power of imagination." "Is it?" Luna hummed with wisdom. "Imagination is magic, if you think about it. Magic is the act of defying what we believe to be impossible, and so is imagination. Imagination is the fuel of the world. It is the root of our progress. Without imagination, we could not create and invent new creations. Through imaginations, we dream. We dreamed of flying. We dreamed of seeing the world, of building towers that touched the sky, of diving into the depths of the deepest oceans, and we dreamed we would touch the moon. We imagined a world where all the people of the world lived in peace and harmony. Then somewhere on the way we lost it," Luna whispered sadly. "Somewhere along the way our innocence died, our hope died. Dreamers were beaten into submission. They were told to grow up and follow the rules. They were taught that to be different was a sin, and that reality was a fixed thing that could not be defied. They taught us to not even try. We used to read books and play imaginary games. With imaginary people, muggles just watch TV and play video games. They let others think for them. They were told what to dream and not to imagine at all. We became scared, so we learned to become numb. Is imagination the secret of magic? I doubt it, but it is the secret to wielding it. It was not something that could be taught. It has to be something understood, something lived, something experienced. Mother once said that the only real rule of magic is that there are no rules. She was almost right. One must truly imagine without a shred of doubt that the impossible is not only possible, of a certainty. Pandora's box was the key. Entering made me realize that the only thing stopping us from mastering magic is ourselves. Luna sighed. Mother made a mistake. She thought the secret of magic was madness, and by the time she learned the truth, it was too late. She could not imagine breaking what she had already lost touch with. I needed to do what she could not. But I can't do it without you. I need you to keep me sane, long enough to do what must be done. Luna rose from the bed, extended a hand to Harry, her eyes gleaming with determination as she reached into herself and felt the weak pulse of her magical core. This is the key of magic. To truly understand it has no limit, no rules, no laws. Reality is liquid and impossible is a lie. I may not know what's real anymore, but I know with all my being that with magic and the power of imagination, anything is possible. Luna closed her eyes as she walked towards the glamoured window and took Harry's hand. "Keep talking to me." Harry nodded, feeling a smile form on his lips. "The whole world has its eyes on you, Luna. What are you going to show them?" "The world has its ears upon you, Luna. What are you going to tell them? The whole world is waiting for you. What are you going to give them?" Luna opened her eyes as she felt her magical core start to expand outward, power exploding through her like nothing she had ever felt before. Then Luna hummed, "Magic, imaginatio potestatum." Harry watched in awe as the images in the glamour window began to change, the entire wall rippling like it was a puddle. Luna stepped inside the rippling wall and began to enter the glamour window's image before turning back to Harry. "Well, aren't you coming with me?" Harry closed his jaw and nodded before retaking Luna's hand and together exited through the glamoured window. "Where are we going?" Luna smiled. "Wherever we want." Harry felt every inch of his body contort as it stretched and compressed into the glamoured window. Harry heard a pop and suddenly found himself surrounded by colors and images that Harry found overwhelming. Luna whispered beside him, "This is nothing, Harry. What I experienced in Pandora's box was 1,000 times more beautiful, wonderful, and consuming." Luna sounded haunted as she whispered this, and Harry focused only on her as he tightened his grip on her hand. Luna looked to him and nodded, focusing on Harry and not the images that swirled around them. Luna focused on an image before looking upon a castle that Harry thought he would never see again. In my mind, Hogwarts was never destroyed. Harry smiled at Luna's words as he looked down upon the castle that he had long called home. Harry saw a pair of students kissing on the top of the astronomy tower, and Harry recognized the students as himself and Luna. It felt like years ago, for them maybe it was. Luna hummed. How old I was, I'm younger than that now, Harry chuckled. Who said that? Gandhi. Luna grinned and winked. I said that, Harry frowned. I am pretty sure I've heard that before. Harry's words faded from his mouth as he suddenly saw images of himself and Luna throughout their life together. Of the wars they suffered, their parting and reunion, of the magic of Xanadu, where all they had was their love. Then Harry saw other images. He saw Luna in a white wedding gown, before it changed into an indescribably strange dress that had the image of Harry in tears of laughter as Luna floated down the aisle. Harry realized that Luna could perform magic and was a witch. Then he saw the two of them together on a small cabin in the middle of Xanadu with children running around their feet. He saw them as the children grew older, and so did Luna, and so did he. He saw him watching his children get married and have children of their own. Harry whispered, tears in his eyes, "Is this the future?" "I hope so," Luna uttered softly with equally damp eyes. "These are the dreams I dream." Harry then noticed other people he hadn't noticed before. He saw Xenophilius and an old Pandora smiling as they held the youngest child. His breath left him as he saw his parents among them. Luna whispered, "With the power of imagination, with the power of magic, nothing is impossible, not even our dreams." Harry suddenly blinked as he saw two stones in the center of Xanadu. Harry realized what they were as he looked to Luna. "You dream of this, our graves." Luna giggled and shook her head. "No, but we all must go one day. It does not frighten me. I dream of what is written upon it. How will people remember me? I never cared what people thought of me, but I do wish they understood one thing about me in life and after." Harry looked at the stone before saying, "I don't think I can look at it." Luna shook her head. "Don't worry, Harry. You will never see this grave. We will never part. I know it." Harry took comfort in Luna's eyes before confronting Luna's epitaph, and reading the words brought tears to his eyes. "Here lies Luna Potter, just as sane as you or I." Harry looked to Luna, who smiled. "People see me as a saint, as a hero. Even you look up to me. I don't mind being different, but I just wish they'd accept me for who I am. If I complete my mission, this will never come to be." Harry felt a deep understanding with Luna. Harry suddenly had an idea and uttered, "I'll do it." Luna looked to Harry confused before he clarified, "I'll take the credit, become the savior of magic, become the hero and all the shit that comes with it." Luna smiled as she whispered, "If you were anyone else, I would accuse you of trying to steal my unwanted glory. No, I will not burden you with my achievements. You have enough of that as it is. We shall carry the weight together. Now excuse me, Harry, it's time for me to meet someone." Luna stuck her finger out and started twirling the images before her, causing the fabric of space to swirl around them in a whirlpool. When it stopped, Harry was at a familiar house, shaped as a rook. "Luna, what are we doing here?" Luna looked seriously at the house. "I'm going to make my dreams come true." Before Harry could stop her, Luna ran into the house, Harry trailing closely behind. Luna felt an excitement flow through her as she nearly fell down the stairs to the basement before bursting through the door. Luna felt Harry behind her as she took in the room. Luna heard a voice whisper hoarsely, "I'm sorry, I know I wasn't the best mother, but you are the best daughter a mother could ever ask for. I know life will be difficult, and there will be times when you just want to give up and let your grief consume you, but I promise it will get better. No matter how dark things may seem, the dawn will be astounding." The lab was on fire as Luna walked towards Pandora, who had just had her memories enter a potion vial, and began to close her eyes. Harry noticed the younger, unconscious Luna collapsed in the corner of the room, while Luna was already kneeling next to Pandora. She was surrounded in a pool of her own blood and looked up to where Luna stood. Luna smiled in memory as she whispered to her mother, "No, I'm sorry for ever doubting you. I could not ask for a better mother. I just wished I told you before." Pandora smiled softly as she somehow heard these words. "You never had to," Luna cut her off. "I know, Mother, but perhaps I can show you." Luna raised her hand and started healing Pandora's wounds, causing Pandora to gasp in shock. "Luna, what are you doing?" Luna looked excitedly at her mother. "I have discovered the secret of magic, Mother. Have gone through so much, both good and bad. I have suffered unimaginable grief and loss and suffering, but I've also found love and happiness like I could never even dream of. I have come so much more than I ever could have imagined. I owe everything to you, Mother. I owe you my life. I know the circumstances of my birth and what would have happened to me if you hadn't rescued me from her. I owe you more than you can know. I'm going back to finish our work, to give the world magic, and I'm taking you with me." Pandora's eyes widened as she shook her head. "Luna, I understand you can't change the past, otherwise things wouldn't have happened the way they were meant to. You needed to die, and I needed to go through the thing I did to find Harry and discover the secrets of magic. But I can bring you with me. When your soul parts, I can bring it with me. I can recreate your body. I can bring you back to life. Don't you understand, Mother? I can do everything. I can make the world paradise, a utopia. I can put an end to suffering, an end to death itself. Death will no longer exist. I won't just bring you back, you mother. I will bring back his parents to Harry." Pandora shook her head. "Luna, think about what you are saying. What you are saying would disrupt the fundamental laws of nature. So is giving magic to muggles and squibs. I can make our mission obsolete. I can do this, Mother." Luna hummed with happiness. "There is a difference between having the power to act and wisdom to not," Pandora whispered as she rose to her feet. "Can you imagine a world where no one died? It would not be as pleasant as one would first think. The temptation of power is strong. It is not the evil of power that always corrupts, but the temptation to do good, or what appears to be good, by any means necessary. But death is necessary. Without death, there can be no freedom. Without death, Umbridge would still rule. The universe would collapse. The power to change the world must be done with grave caution. Even giving magic to the muggles could end very badly." Luna deflated a little. "Fair point, but I can still bring you back. I can bring back my family and Harry's family and the loved ones of my friends. You bring me back. I will not be able to stop myself from asking if you can bring back my mother, the mother who died giving birth to me. I would ask you to bring back the father who loved me, but could not let go of his hate until he had driven me away. I hated him. I never gave him a chance to make amends. It wasn't until he died that I realized deep down I still loved him." Pandora whispered with sorrow. Pandora looked up at Luna with desperate eyes. "What about my grandmother who raised me? The grandfather who died before I could remember him? What about Xenophilius and Phileas, who, if I am correct, will have passed on in your time? What about their parents and grandparents? Phileas had 3 human wives and tons of human children he was doomed to outlive." Luna shook her head as she insisted. "I know it's a lot of people, but you think it ends there, Luna. Everyone I've mentioned, and every family member they would want brought back, they too would want more loved ones back, and those loved ones will have others they want back. This doesn't include those who don't want to come back, who are at peace with death. You bring back enough people, and some will be enemies. Some will go dark where they were once purely good. Secrets will be unlocked, secrets better left dead. Phileas will have 3 wives, but would have to choose one. Don't you see how hopeless it is, how maddening?" Pandora uttered, with a manic look in her eyes. Luna felt tears run down her cheek as she looked to Harry, who had tears of his own, realizing how impossible it truly was to ever see his family again. Pandora continued as she placed a hand on Luna's cheek. "Once the doorway to immortality and necromancy is unlocked, There can be no going back. You would refuse to let Harry die, and in turn you would refuse to die yourself, even if it is just for him. I had to come to terms with the same things as you have while working on the secret of magic. I knew I wasn't strong enough to resist such a temptation, but trust me, Luna, power does corrupt. You may think you have the best intentions, but that is how the corrupting influence of power works. Luna flung herself at her mother and cried, and finally she felt her mother hug her back, for the first time in 10 years. Pandora cooed softly. Hush now, my child, I am not upset with you. I am so proud of you. The flaw in your plan is the same truth that makes us so special. We are all related, we are all individual, yet we are all one small part of a great collective human race, and nothing unifies life like death itself. It is the one certainty of life. It is the one thing in this universe that is truly and completely fair. I don't want to live, Luna, for I do not want what I do not deserve. I deserve to rest. I deserve to be with Xenophilius, and one day we shall meet again. When that day comes, hopefully when you are old and grey, you will understand that death isn't the end. It is the finish of a race. Raise your arms and cheer. I lived my life well. I dedicated it to doing good. I embraced love and happiness with open arms. Now that my time has come, do not say I died. I say I lived. Luna pulled back and cried. I miss you so much. I'm sorry for everything you had to suffer for me. I'm sorry you died for me. I'm sorry for everything. Oh, Luna, don't you understand? Pandora whispered imploringly with tears in her eyes. I did not live, I did not love, and I was never truly happy until I held you in my arms and you called me mother. It was the greatest decision I ever made, and I do not regret a second of my life. Seeing you here, all grown up, is more of a blessing than I could ever have dreamed of. If you wanted to thank me for everything I've done for you, being here now is far more than I could ever ask. All I wanted was for you to be happy. Whatever your future holds, don't let anyone take your happiness away from you. Luna nodded before backing away. I guess I have to go. I still need to give magic to the world. You can come with me, just so you can see it. Your dream come true. Pandora laughed as she looked upon her daughter. It already has. Luna felt Harry take her hand as she whimpered. This is goodbye then. For real. Pandora smiled. There, Luna, it's not really goodbye after all. I'll be with you in your heart. So will you, father and godfather, and everyone who has ever loved you. I can't wait to see what life has in store for you. Goodbye, my moonchild. Luna smiled sadly. Thank you. Goodbye, Moon Mother. Luna blinked her eyes and vanished, and Pandora was on the floor. The wounds had been numbed but were otherwise bleeding her out. She felt pride in her heart, pride for her daughter, and even pride for herself for raising such a wonderful daughter. Harry watched on silently as Luna knelt down next to her mother, who seemed to no longer see her, and whispered, One last gift to you, Mother. Harry felt the room distort, as if time itself was being stretched and overlapping. Parts of the room seemed older and more worn out. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the opposite side of Luna, and Harry instantly recognized the dying figure as Xenophilius. Luna reached out and took his blurry hand while holding on to Pandora's, and the two seemed to instantly stir. Pandora looked to her other side, and her face saddened. I'm sorry, love. I only did what I had to, but now our work is done. Xenophilius opened his eyes and uttered, Pandora. Pandora smiled softly as she nodded. Thank you, Xenophilius. Thank you for giving me the family I always dreamed of. Xenophilius gasped. Pandora, my love, take me home. I am ready. Pandora nodded as she saw little Luna slowly start to wake. Ready or not, here we come. Harry watched as the life left them both, and Luna let go of their limp hands. Xenophilius' figure faded as the room shifted back to the moment of Pandora's death. Luna rose to her feet and whispered, I guess I'm ready too. I'm ready to live again. Luna looked back at Harry, who was looking at the unconscious child that was a younger Luna, slowly rise to her feet and run over to her mother's body. The older Luna sighed before something occurred to her. I don't remember anything after this. Then Luna saw them, shadows from the wall illuminated by the fire that was spreading throughout the room. Little Luna cried as she whispered, "Please wake up." "Please, Mummy." The shadows crept closer to her little Luna, and the older Luna watched almost knowingly. Harry felt a chill go up his spine as the shadows floated over the child. Little Luna suddenly whispered, "Please, please make it go away." "Please." The shadows suddenly laughed a familiar, mischievous laugh before the shadows shot towards the girl who screamed before everything went white. Luna looked around herself and saw no little Luna, no Harry, no anything, just unending whiteness. Luna nervously called out, "Hello!" Luna heard a voice whisper from behind her. "Congratulations." Luna turned around and let out a startled scream. In front of her were three Nargles, but they did not result in the scream. Standing by them was little Luna, only it wasn't her. Little Luna's eyes were black, except for the iris, which were white, just like Cyrus. The girl spoke in a voice that belonged to the eyes, along with the Nargles as one. Luna found herself speaking too, and suddenly found it odd that all the voices together sounded like Pandora. "Now we have come full circle. Moonchild. Journey is over, your quest is overlapping, what happens next is up to you, the power of imagination is inside you, Moonchild. Never forget that, for as long as you hold this power inside you, you will always be magical." Luna felt the world come back into focus around her and saw Harry rising unsteadily to his feet. Luna realized they were back in Pandora's lab, only judging by the shape of the room, they were back in the present. Then Luna gasped, and Harry turned and smiled. Luna uttered, "I never thought I'd see you again. Think nothing of thoughts not thought. Celebrate what is, and bugger what's not. On that note, it's 1 o'clock." And the three Nargles floated towards them with genuine smiles on their faces. "Today's the big day." Luna looked over to Harry. "What day is it today?" Harry blinked before muttering, "Honestly don't have a clue." Cough, Valentine's Day, cough, cough, Moonchild's birthday, cough, cough, you're screwed, loverboy, cough. The Nargles dodged as Harry tossed a broken vial at them. Luna bounced with excitement. "Harry, listen. If it's Valentine's Day, that means—" Luna trailed off as the Nargles began to recite. "The bridge between two worlds shall be born on Lover's Night. The spark to change the world shall be born. When love is right, the spark shall reach the moon the day. Before it ignites, it shall be fostered by the dead, who shall rise on the devil's night, only in death. Will these words of hope be broken only in life? Will dreams of love be awoken only through sacrifice? Shall the gift be given only through death? Shall life be forgiven? The bridge between two worlds shall be born on Lover's Night. The spark to change the world shall be."